Hey guys, channel Donstar has got 300 subs, so congratulations, Roger, on that one. He's got an interesting video challenge and giving out some great prizes. So channel Donstar, Donstar, channel is channel, so it's channel space Donstar. He is hilarious. He tells a lot of stories about why he likes movies, how he first came upon them, or what it meant to him, and I think he really personalizes a lot of things very well. So I enjoy watching his videos. They're a little longer than some, but very enjoyable as a result. So I really like him, and he really cuts up in this video of these guys. He gets a Mad Hatter thing going, and he's really got some zaniness going on in his 300 subs video. But congrats on it; it's well deserved, and I'm sure you'll get many more. So he's asked, what's your favorite movie in each genre? And he listed a bunch of genres, but he didn't have them all. So I'm going to throw in something he doesn't have. I don't have all my movies ready here. Figures I'm not quite as organized as I'd like to be. But I can grab some. First, let me start with my favorite movie. This would be favorite classic movie, I guess. Favorite older movie, whatever you want to call it. One of my favorite movies, period. So it's really easy to name this one. And that is Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. I own it like 3 different ways. I'm like the Toddy Walnuts with Citizen Kane. I actually own it 3 times. I own it once on DVD in an anniversary edition. Then I own the, the Digibook. But it's not important right now. I have this one. This one, I like this one the best of the ones I've got for a number of reasons. One is it's got the cool digipack inside. It's got a hardcover book talking about Citizen Kane, of course. And but it's really not about this. It's really about the movie itself. Aside from, people talk about how the camera angles and the black and white and the kind of the deep lens focus that was done in the movie. A lot of things were first times, but for me, it's the plot and the character of Charles Kane that makes it such a good movie, and that is brought about by some excellent acting by Orson Welles. Direction, absolutely wonderful direction, but the acting in this was just superb. I mean, he plays a young man with enthusiasm and exuberance, and then he plays an old man equally well, kind of tainted by life and soured by life, and about he starts out kind of idealistic and ends up kind of bitter, not kind of, very bitter. This one also contains of course, the Blu-ray. Then it contains on DVD Disc 2 The Battle Over Citizen Kane, which won the 1995 Best Documentary Feature. Actually, it was an Oscar nominee, didn't win it. And then it also includes an RKO 281, an Emmy and Golden Globe winning 1999 movie about the making of Citizen Kane. So really like Citizen Kane. One of my favorite movies of all time. So I thought I'd start with that. It was an easy one to find. Let me go with next. Let me go with favorite. Oh, you didn't have it down, but I'm going to go with favorite fantasy movie, and I say this is one movie, so since I say it, it's true, and it really is if you think about it. I'm going to go with the Lord of the Rings trilogy for my favorite fantasy movie. Now, he did say action adventure, but I don't really think this. This doesn't. Action adventure to me can be a lot of things, and I'm going to show you an action adventure movie, or at least an adventure movie. But I think this one is really fantasy first and foremost, more so than action or even adventure. Though it is certainly an adventure, it's an epic adventure, but it's really fantasy. So my favorite fantasy, Lord of the Rings. Why? I loved these books as a kid. I remember as a just a young 12-year-old, probably something like that, picking up the my favorite of the 3, which is the Fellowship of the Ring. It introduces the characters, introduces the world. It's also my favorite movie of the 3, by the way. Just love the Fellowship of the Ring. In fact, every time I go to watch this trilogy, I start with Fellowship of the Ring, and I usually watch it and then stop. It's that good. Not that I don't like the other two movies. I love the other two movies, but I always want to go back and watch that Fellowship of the Ring again, just to introduce to the characters all over again, and hear about the see the ring get thrown into the fire, and realize and I always liked this much better than The Hobbit. I read The Hobbit and I read The Lord of the Rings, and to me, Lord of the Rings was head and shoulders above The Hobbit as a book, and as a movie for that matter. But anyway, Lord of the Rings, really, really, really like it. It's my favorite fantasy. Okay, next up is my favorite foreign film. It's a tough one, but in the end, I'm going to go with Victoria De Sica's Bicycle Thieves. Why? I don't know, from the first time I watched this movie until now, it's really stuck with me. De Sica, who was a rich man, took some poor, just regular people off the street and put them in this movie. This is not an actor. He was just a dude, and he was brilliant. And the boy in this is brilliant, and the movie is brilliant. What a simple plot. The guy needs a bicycle to have a job, and in post-war Italy, Rome in particular, hard to find a job because there were just only so many, and so people line up, and the call is, do you have a bicycle? We need somebody to hang posters, and he says, I have a bicycle. Well, he gets it out of hock. They hock the bed sheets, turn them in, and get their bicycle out of hock. And he gets his bicycle, and he's on the job for one day, and the bicycle is stolen. Bicycles are apparently in high demand in Rome. His bicycle is stolen, and the rest of the movie is he and his sons search for this bicycle and for the bicycle thief that took it. It's called Bicycle Thieves for a reason. I'm not going to give away the plot, but it's appropriately called Bicycle Thieves in the plural, and I think it's important to watch the movie and see exactly what that means by bicycle thieves. But what a great movie! So that is my favorite foreign language film. It was tough, but this ends up winning. Okay, next category I'm going to go with is epic adventure. I'm going to keep that separate from action, so I'll do a few extra ones on top of this one, Roger, that you asked for. But this one, from a cinematography standpoint, I think it's probably the most gorgeous movie I've ever seen. The colors, the landscape, just the settings for this movie were amazing. And to think that this is one of the first, I think it was one of the first starring roles for Peter O'Toole as Sir Lawrence of Arabia. And the movie is Lawrence of Arabia. I just love this movie. It's just so cinematic. Such an epic film. Here's this British dude that ends up in Arabia and ends up... he's not the hero that you would think. He's flawed. So I like that about the movie. I like the fact that he's flawed. I'll do what Roger does. I like the fact that he's flawed. This is an homage to you, Roger. And that he isn't the perfect leader. He's got his doubts, but he does have his moments where he shines, and he is a charismatic leader nonetheless, and an impressive leader, much the same way that Gandhi was a leader in India. He was a leader, and what a great film. And I love how it begins. It begins at the end, and then goes back, which I think was interesting. You find out who was Lord. It starts with his death, and then goes back and shows you how he became who he was. So Lawrence of Arabia, my favorite epic adventure. Very good. Next we come to horror. And if you would just watch my top 50 horror video, and if you haven't, you probably should. I thought it was pretty good. I did the whole thing in less than 15 minutes. It was 13 minutes of top 50. With not so much, a couple of them had reasons why, but it was just my top 50. And then with Falagar, on his Google Hangout, I did do more of the details. Although I changed the list from what I did with Sam. Sorry about that, but I kind of got some new stuff in and watched some movies I hadn't seen before, and then I switched the list around a little bit. In fact, I switched it around again. I remade it just recently because I bought some other movies and did that. But my number one hasn't changed, and that is The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty's story, which scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. And then the movie, which scares the shit out of me even today to some degree. It doesn't really scare me as much as it does what horror movies are supposed to do, which it unnerves me a little bit. It makes me think about another homage. It makes me think about kind of what's going on in the movie and the atmosphere, and I really feel for these characters. When Father Merrin ascends the stairs to do battle with the demon, and it was interesting because Father Karras says, well, it said this and it said that and it's called itself this, and Merrin says, there's only one. There's only one. It's the devil. We're going to be battling the devil. He doesn't say that. He doesn't have to say that. We know it's the devil. He's fought him before. He's going to fight him again. And it's a great movie. It's atmospheric. It's unnerving. It's creepy. It's got all the special effects are not special effects. They had no CGI. When things were flying around the room, they had huge fans and they were throwing stuff into the fans. The making of this is pretty interesting as well. This is the 40th anniversary. This is the extended director's cut and the original theatrical cut, along with, of course, the digibook. You get some interesting things about all the actors and actresses and everything. I love digibooks, so I'm real big fan of this. But The Exorcist as a movie is, forget the release, what release I have. The Exorcist as the movie is just a fantastic horror film and my favorite. Okay, much the same way I cheated on Lord of the Rings, I'm cheating on this one too. I'm up to favorite sci-fi movie. I'm going to go with what I call the Star Trek trilogy. And that is The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home. See, it even calls it the motion picture trilogy. Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, The Voyage Home. What three great films of my favorite movie Star Trek franchise. I love the Deep Space Nine, but I like the Next Generation series the best. I do own the original Star Trek, and yeah, I have the slipcovers for all of them on the the silver ones. I'm not going to dig them out, but they're here. There they are, right there next to the Cosmos. And I do also have the all 9 seasons, I believe it was 7 seasons. I'm sorry, of Star Trek: The Next Generation on the thick silver. I'm not going to dig those out, but they're up on the shelves over there. But of all the movies, I really, really liked The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home. Briefly, The Wrath of Khan with Ricardo Montalban, excellent. Who would have figured that years after the original one that was on the original series, that they'd bring back Ricardo Montalban? Who would have guessed it? Seems like a natural now, but never would have figured it out. But they brought him back. He was a great villain. Who can forget when he thinks he's stranded Kirk and Kirk yells out, "God!" In that way that's only William Shatner, that over dramatic acting that he does, and he does it well. I admire him for it, actually. And what a great sacrifice of Spock. Leonard Nimoy with a great role. I always shall be your friend. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one. And then to have the search for Spock, Star Trek 3, and find Spock being only a shell of his former self, and the whole story that revolved around that, and the great villain. The great villain that was on I can't remember his name. Somebody will fill in the blank. The great villain in Star Trek 3 who kills Kirk's son. Who orders him killed. He himself doesn't kill him. And he's a comedian. He was in Taxi, wasn't he? Wasn't he in Taxi? I think he was. I think he was in Taxi. Anyway, he's the one who has Kirk's son killed. And then, The Voyage Home, they finally reunite Spock with his body, and he becomes a whole. And now they have to get him. Now they have to get home. And what a great story The Voyage Home was. Stranded on Earth, in whatever it was, the 1980s or something, the 70s, whatever it was, And what a hilarious episode. One of my favorite Star Trek movies of all time. Um, from the guy on the bus that Spock, gives the Vulcan grip to knock him out because he's playing his music too loud. Everybody cheers. To double dumbass on you. To tell me where your nuclear vessels are. Where's the nuclear vessels? Chekhov trying to get to the nuclear powered subs. Anyway, great comedy, great dramatic moments. Star Trek trilogy. I've spoken about it long enough, but what a great package. Great three discs here, and what a great trilogy in the Star Trek universe. So that is my favorite science fiction movie. I was teasing Roger, Channel Donstar, that he left off westerns. He said, "Oh no, do westerns." So I've got my favorite western here. It's a tough one, because I think there's two that stand out for me. One is Unforgiven by Clint Eastwood, and it's really close to that one and this one, but I'm going to go with a Sergio Leone film that doesn't star Clint Eastwood. So it's not one of these, although I do like these, and I could have cheated again and went with the Man with No Name trilogy and put all three of these in there, but I'm not going to do that. Although I think those are three great movies. I'm going to go with Once Upon a Time in the West with Henry Fonda as the bad guy. Claudia Cardinale. Claudia Cardinale. As well as, Charles Bronson, Jason Robards. What a great movie. This particular version has both the theatrical and the restored version, which is both are nice. Commentaries from directors John Carpenter, John Milius, Alex Cox. Just a lot of cool stuff on this. An opera of violence it talks about. And love this version. Love this movie. My favorite Western, Once Upon a Time in the West. If you haven't seen this one, it's really worth watching. I'm so glad that Roger included favorite comedy, because it gives me an opportunity to talk about the comic geniuses that were the Marx Brothers. These guys were so fucking funny. Groucho, of course, was the ringleader and had some great lines. He played opposite Margaret Dumont, who's this larger woman, kind of a proper woman. And Groucho, with his cigar and his, just amazing lines from them. And of course, you had Chico. The other two would play out. Well, really, I think of there's four of them, but I really think of, when I think of it, I think of Chico, and I think of Harpo as the two. Of course, Harpo never spoke, and Chico had this Italian accent, all to put on. But it gives me a chance to show off the Marx Brothers silver screen collection that I picked up. What a great set this is. And I guess I'm going to go with Duck Soup, but it's really hard to say. They're all good. This particular collection has the Coconuts, Animal Crackers, Monkey Business, Horse Feathers, and Duck Soup. And for my money, these five were the classic Marx Brothers movies. I have another set that has A Day at the Opera, Night at the Opera, Day at the Races, and others. But I think this is the set to own. Duck Soup is a wonderful comedy. They all are. There's just so many great routines in this. And of course, who's the brother that left us? One of the brothers. He's in all of these. Zeppo. Zeppo is this dude here. He's really not as funny. He's more of a straight dude. But he's in all these first five, and I think he leaves after these. And just leaves the three Marx Brothers, and he did like some producing and stuff and writing and so on. But what a great set. It's embossed here. Love the set, so it gives me a chance to show it off and talk about the Marx Brothers. If you haven't seen the Marx Brothers, is it Duck Soup that has the, I'm trying to think which, or is it Night at the Opera? Or Day at the Races? One of them has Harpo, the one who doesn't speak, and Groucho. And Harpo's kind of dressed like Groucho with the mustache and everything and the dark hair. And it's like Grouch is looking in the mirror, and no matter what he does, Harpo mirrors it perfectly in the mirror. I mean, it's a perfect mirror image, though clearly there's no glass there. And it's hilarious. But so is most of what they do. So the Marx Brothers, Duck Soup, we'll say, is my favorite comedy of all time. And the Marx Brothers, my favorite comedy team of all time. So that's that. Next, I'm going to say action movie. I don't know if it's drama. I don't know if we've done drama yet. I think I might have already done drama. Let's see. I did favorite classic film, favorite foreign language film. Well, I'm going to say action film for this one. Maybe I'll do drama again. But my favorite action films, again, I'm going to go with a franchise on this one, I guess. I like all of them. Well, all of them except for, I don't think I like 5 all as much, but I'm a big fan of the whole series, so I'm going to go with Sylvester Stallone's Rocky. This is the Undisputed Collection. They've come out with another one since this one, but this one looks fine to me. I'm not going to rebuy it. I've got all the films I need here, and you've got Rocky, of course. Ends in a draw. Then you've got Rocky 2, where the rematch. Actually, Rocky loses in the first one. I'm sorry. You think it's a draw. He finishes it, and it almost feels like a draw. The second one, Rocky 2, where Rocky wins the title, but barely. Then you've got Rocky 3 with Clubber Lang. Rocky 4 with the Russian. Let's not really talk about Rocky 5. And then Rocky Balboa. So, really, some great flicks. I just love the Rocky franchise. The music, the whole underdog thing. I even like Talia Shire in it. The mousy, then later on not so mousy wife, Adrian. I love the cheesiness of Adrian, Rocky. I love how she never thinks he's going to win. Watch these movies. She never thinks he's going to win until it's obvious that everybody in the whole theater and everybody in the whole fake crowd that's watching it knows he's going to win. And then she'll say, you're going to do it. He's got like 2 punches left to knock the guy out. And she finally realizes the guy might win. Amazing. But fun nonetheless. So I'm going to go with Rocky for my action movies. Notice how I'm cheating on this one, Roger, and getting as many extras in. But if I had to pick one of the Rocky films, it'd be hard to do. I like the first one. Pardon me. But I like a lot of them too. So it's hard to pick one. Roger, how about favorite documentary? We didn't talk about that one. I'm going to go with Hoop Dreams. The story of 2 would-be basketball players. We start following them in high school and watching them over the years to try to make the NBA. Their high school efforts, stars in high school, somewhat stars in college, and then we finally follow them. Neither one of them makes the NBA, or you would have heard of them. Arthur Agee and William Gates. But what a journey they and their family go through in this, and what a brilliant film. What a great idea for a film, brilliant idea for a documentary. There's actually a follow-up to this, which I believe is on the new one. It came out on Blu-ray. But I was less interested in where they are now. I can Google that if I want to. But I really wanted this one because I like the book that came with this one. The book is quite extensive, and I think they chopped it down, I heard, to like hardly anything in the new one. What a bummer. This thing had all sorts of images and stories and great stuff. And obviously he didn't sign it for real, but it sure looks like it, doesn't it? So, really great stuff. Hoop Dreams. At least I don't think he signed it. I never really did. I'm assuming that, that's just part of it. Hoop Dreams, my favorite documentary. Favorite drama. This one for me is fairly easy. I love this movie. People talk about Goodfellas. I like Goodfellas too, but for my money, The Godfather, and I mean the original Godfather, not Godfather 2. A lot of people say, well, Godfather 2 is just as good as The Godfather. I say, no, it's not. For one thing, it doesn't have Marlon Brando. It doesn't have, to me, the epic feel that The Godfather has. I like The Godfather 2, don't get me wrong. It's a very enjoyable film. I like The Godfather 3, but I'm not putting all three of them on my list. Just The Godfather. Love The Godfather. It's obviously Francis Ford Coppola's shining achievement, along with Godfather 2. He took a little bit of a beating for Godfather 3, but I think Godfather 3 is fine as a movie. It's got some very good dramatic moments in it. But The Godfather, why? Like I mentioned, the brilliant casting of Marlon Brando as Vito Corleone. Equally brilliant to cast Al Pacino as his son, and James Caan as Sonny, the heir apparent, but the hothead. Michael, is supposed to be the one that stays out of the business, but, it's like, it's like he couldn't get away. It was like he was destined to be the Godfather. Of course, that's the way the book was written, but it just seemed, even as a character and the way things were unfolding, Sonny was too brash. He was too hot-headed. He was never going to last. He started a war, for God's sake. Michael was smart. Smart like his father was smart. But certainly capable of evil. And so to me, the Godfather trilogy is all about Michael Corleone, obviously. But the Godfather movie is really about Vito Corleone. And I really like Marlon Brando in this role, so that's why I'm picking The Godfather. It's my favorite drama. I suppose I'll close out with favorite romance. And I do have one. It's just not up here. I do own it. It's the Velvet edition of the whatever anniversary it was. 50th? No. 75th, maybe? Of Gone with the Wind. So, if you haven't seen it, it's a red velvet box. Got a lot of extras in it. But it's not about what I own, it's about the movie. And the movie, Vivian Leigh, Olivia de Havilland, Clark Gable, all brilliant. It's a love story, but I'm not really sure who the love story is with. It certainly is a romance, though. But I love the epic quality of it. This is the Civil War. It's Atlanta. It's the South. Maybe it's the romance between, the people in the South and their way of life. And I don't mean the slavery part of it. Of course, that was what, greatly the war was about. But their way of life was so, in some ways romantic. Take the slaves out of the picture. The dances that they had and the formal gowns and the mint juleps and there's still some of that in the South today. Pardon me. But it was a great romance, and I suppose it's about Rhett Butler and Scarlett O'Hara as well, and there would be romance, and I suppose they have a romance of sorts, although she really loves Ashley through most of the film, at least until he dies. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Gone with the Wind, I don't know what to tell you. It's a great romance, and better than that, it's a great movie. It certainly did quite well over the years, and both as a novel and as a movie. So Gone with the Wind would be my favorite romance. And I think I hit all the categories, Roger. I don't have the list printed out in front of me, but I'm pretty sure I hit all the genres you're looking for, maybe a couple that you weren't looking for. So certainly think I earned my place in your drawing here. But it's really not about the drawing, although you got some great prizes there. I would be really happy with with any of them. But certainly those art cards, the Star Trek art cards, are really interesting to me. Not so much the poster because I don't have any place to put it. My walls are kind of full. But I might be able to find a place for that. I might be able to rearrange. And then the Chucky, bridal set was really cool. I'd take it out of the box. Probably. I know a lot of people leave things in the boxes, these collectors. I tend to take the stuff out and put it on shelves and, But whatever. I mean, I'd love any of them. So great contest, great channel you've got. Really pleased that I found your channel, and probably through Sammy, I'm guessing. I don't remember anymore how I found you, but glad I did. And anyway, good luck with reaching 5, 1,000, whatever's next. And good luck to whoever wins your contest. I think you've got 3 great prizes there. Maybe it'll be me. Who knows? I've only won one in the entire time I was on YouTube, and that was Tidy Walnuts contest. So I don't know if I'll ever win another one, but I've certainly put in. All right, take care.